What's happening? What's cracking? We about to get into this reaction. But before we get into this reaction, like, I'm subscribe to Quincy. Do that. Do that. Do that. It only takes you 5 seconds. It don't take you long at all. So just do it, please. Really? But we about to get into the video about Trump. I guess he was in court and all this stuff, and he pleaded the fifth. But obviously he pleading fifth. He ain't got nothing to say. Donald Trump trying to hold it down like, well, he is holding it down like a real nigga. I mean, real N-word. And hey, man, can you really hate Trump? I don't know. But y'all can tell me. Put it in the comments and all that stuff. But we're going to get into this video about Trump pleading the fifth. So let's get into the video and see what Trump is talking about with this case.
I'm pleading the fifth until I speak to my lawyer.
Upon the advice of counsel, I must respectfully decline to answer your question based on my rights under the Fifth Amendment to the United States Constitution.
I plead the fifth. Did he tell you where he was on the day McAllister was murdered? I plead the fifth.
You've seen it before, at least in Law and Order type shows, but we've never seen a former president plead the fifth, refusing to testify under oath for that clear, legally provable fear that he might incriminate himself in crimes. And Trump is known as a talker, but he basically spent 6 hours today refusing to talk or tell his side of the story under oath. That's after losing a long quest to avoid ever having to face this Attorney General, Letitia James. She's leading the civil probe here, which can still have potential criminal implications like any thorough probe.
President Trump cannot avoid justice in the great state of New York. My investigation is civil in nature. However, in the event that we uncover any conduct or activities which would suggest criminal activities, then that would change, obviously, our investigation.
That's true. It's part of why legally someone could even plead the fifth in this context and that Trump could do it today. There has to be a credible risk that the witnesses' answers could be used against them as criminal evidence or even to criminally indict them. Now, Trump does face that risk.
Trump being more realer than a lot of these rappers. He's being realer than a lot of these rappers. He's saying he pleaded the fifth. He ain't saying shit. He ain't saying the damn thing. He ain't going to incriminate himself at all. So Trump is being realer than a lot of these rappers. That's crazy.
Because we already know there's overlapping topics about his finances and his company that have gotten other people indicted. I know a lot's been going on this week, but it wasn't that long ago that you had his top financial officer.
Like I said, he being realer than a lot of you rappers. A lot of you rappers be capping and bullshit.
Handcuffed, indicted, awaiting trial, which is now scheduled for this year. Now, Trump himself has done those depositions under oath before. In fact, he's been in more lawsuits than any candidate in American history. USA Today did a count. And he's answered many questions in depositions. Today, though, he basically stated his name under oath. You couldn't claim that answer would be legally incriminating. But then for all of the questions about his own conduct and his business, he kept pleading the fifth and saying some version of, quote, same answer again and again. Over the course of the day, we are told, according to
this nigga, man, wow. He said the same thing. Hey, man, was you there? I plead the fifth. But did you incite the? No, I wasn't there. Fifth. I don't know nothing about that. Fifth.
What you see on tape there. Searched, also under a legally authorized plan by a judge. In his case, the feds were searching for a cell phone. That search of that guy who pled the fifth, well, actually looks a little bit small compared to the whole Mar-a-Lago operation. The legal point here is that while neither Congress nor a civil probe can even prosecute someone in the first place, they can uncover the kind of testimony, criminal evidence, or smoking gun evidence that can get you in trouble or indicted. As for this civil case, they already say they have evidence of Trump and his organization basically lying about his finances In a civil matter, that can lead to fines. It can lead to the kind of restitution that deals with the fact that they may have misled authorities or gotten to pay less
Still, I don't know shit.
taxes while other people paid more than their fair share. All of this builds on the testimony that you might recall Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, provided to Congress. And while Trump is not a legal expert or a very credible source on many of these matters, at the broader level, by doing this, he also faces criticism about the hypocrisy because he has long attacked anyone taking the fifth, something he pressed when people linked to some of his opponents.
I mean, Donald Trump already acknowledged himself being a contradiction, a walking contradiction, always. So if you don't know this about this man, that's nothing new.
Had pled the fifth.
You see, the mob takes the fifth. If you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment?
Your staff taking the Fifth Amendment, taking the fifth, so they're not prosecuted.
Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment, Fifth Amendment. Horrible.
I'm joined by John Flannery.
He's a comedian. He's a comedian.
Former federal prosecutor and advisor as counsel to several congressional probes.
And they think this shit is funny as well. Hey man, this is purdy comedy. And a lot of people probably not talking about it because they talking about the monkeypox, all this other stuff. But this is serious as well. I mean, for real. It's way serious news that's out there than who got their chain snatched, who doing this to who's talking to what, Pete got dumped by Kim Kardashian. We're gonna talk about that too. But there's a lot of other things, but this is hilarious.
John, some people look at everything that's happened and say, it's one more nick in the armor. Is it that big a deal? Other people say no president has ever left.
Why you got that big ass bow tie on? It look like a damn propeller. And Pee Wee Herman ass shit.
Office and done this. The fact that Donald Trump and his lawyers think that he has grounds to plead the Fifth Amendment today, do you view this as just one more thing or judging him by real standards, a new low?
I think it's both historic and is going to bite him in the hindquarters when the dust settles. And this is what I mean.
He didn't want to say hindquarter. He wanted to say ass. He wanted to bite him in the ass.
We've been talking about the Fifth Amendment as if this is a circumstance for the Fifth Amendment. And the Constitution reads that nor shall any person be compelled in any criminal case, this is a civil case, to be a witness against himself. So the question is he being a witness against himself. So this is not a criminal case. You invoke the Fifth Amendment, but because it is a civil case, they can draw adverse inferences from you taking the Fifth Amendment in that civil case.
Right, and we discussed that a little bit earlier in the program, and that basically it's important because it is your right, and it comes out of government abuse that they can't just grab you, force you to say stuff or whatever under their interrogation, and then use that against you. Here, that's not the case if it's civil. But there are people who look at this and say, well, yeah, so much has happened with Trump. It seems to me, John, now
he don't want to be caught up in no bullshit, none of that shit. So he gonna plead the fifth all the way through it, He don't want to get caught in no lies at all, even though it's on tape. Even the contradiction of who pleads the fifth. If you all this and this, ain't no reason pleading the fifth, and now he's pleading the fifth.
I'm going to do the leading question. You're familiar with that. It seems to me,
Yes, I am.
if Barack Obama left office, was dealing with a case, first of all, defied it for so long that he had to be fined $100,000 just to get him in the chair, and then pled the Fifth Amendment, it seems to me a lot of people would tell us it was the biggest, worst thing that had happened that decade.
Yes, well, I said the entire history of the United States. And here's the thing.
Trump supporters don't give a damn about that. They're going to be like, hey, man, he ain't do nothing wrong. He ain't do nothing wrong. Not at all. They going to support him regardless.
About the adverse inference. If I'm asking him a question, and this is why he sat there 5 or 6 hours, you have to ask the question that you may try to draw the adverse inference on in the civil case. So you say, isn't it a fact, Mr. Trump, that you understated the value of your properties in connection with your tax filings? He takes the fifth. Isn't it a fact that you overstated those same properties for the purposes of getting loans? then he goes to trial, or they offer that evidence and considering how to go forward. And the adverse inference is when you didn't answer that question, you, in effect, seem to agree to it. Because if I say, are you a crook? And you say, I take the fifth, the conclusion is you are a crook. Now, it's interesting also how he deals with it, which I think gives away the tell that you talk about. Well, my wife and I, we have pigs, you know. Well, if you pick up one, they squeal like mad. And he's been picked up and he is squealing like mad, like Spiro Agnew did when they investigated and indicted him. But Spiro didn't have to take the Fifth Amendment, and this guy does. And when the mob does it, they usually do it in a criminal case, but it doesn't work out for them. Vito Genovese in 1958, he took the Fifth Amendment 150 times. And I think Trump...
Trump said, I ain't ratting. I'm no rat. I'm no 6'9". He ain't snitching on himself. He ain't doing none of that stuff. Man, Trump. Hey, man. You kind of got to respect him, I guess. I don't know. Y'all tell me in the comments. Do you got to respect him? Because he ain't ratting at all. He like, I plead the fifth. There's not even no charges really, like they said. This dude is funny. Hey, you're more real than a lot of these rappers. I would say that. A lot of these rappers are fake. But hey, he doing what he's supposed to do. He holding down for himself. He ain't telling on himself at all. A lot of these rappers tell on themselves. Just look at the lyrics and all this other stuff. But hey, they ain't for me to judge. But hey, like, comment, subscribe to is Quincy and do all those great things. The videos is somewhere here and somewhere there. And until another video, we gotta go. But y'all tell me if y'all agree with him pleading the fifth or don't agree with him pleading the fifth and think he full of shit. Hey, that's up to y'all. So put that in the comment and let me know. And until another video, we gotta go.